Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. Today is Friday, January 30th. We have survived the month of January. It's been a very cold month here in Manitoba, but we are almost at the end, and then February is a short month, and spring is not too far around the corner after that, I hope. Anyway, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome if this is your first time. Just by way of introduction, if you are new here, my name is Janice. I live and work in Manitoba, Canada. I work at a Canadian grocery store chain called Sobeys, and I do some of my shopping there for groceries because we have a small staff discount there of 10% off your first $150 spent every week. And Sobeys and Safeway are Scene Plus sponsors, meaning you can earn and redeem Scene Plus points in store. And I do also a good portion of my shopping at Real Canadian Superstore for their PC Optimum Points program. Tonight's haul, it's fairly late in the evening. It's after 10 o'clock at night. I worked until 7:30 and then went shopping at Superstore. This is a Superstore haul. This is my bi-weekly grocery haul, and there's a few things on sale at Sobeys I wouldn't mind getting in the next few days, but this is a pretty big haul, and I don't know that I'm going to have a lot of grocery budget left. One of these times I'll have to do a video and I'll have to explain how I budget, but basically I don't really have a set grocery budget. I have a set amount that my husband transfers me bi-weekly on his payday. We get paid the same week, me on Thursdays and he on Fridays. And he gives me a set amount. He keeps a certain amount back in his account for his monthly car insurance and for his car payment and for certain groceries that he likes to buy that are kind of special things, like his protein powders and various lactose-free things and stuff that he likes to take to work. And so he keeps a set amount aside for stuff that he likes to buy, as well as his car insurance and car payment and other things. And then we have an agreed upon amount that he gives me every 2 weeks. And out of that, I pay our utility bills and my cell phone bill and some debt repayment, like for my credit card, my car payment, and my car insurance and all that good stuff. And so the one that usually at the start of the month or close to mid-month, that one usually, like if it's in the first week of the month or so, whatever date it happens to fall on, that's the one where I usually pay the hydro bill and the water bill and the cable and internet bill and the cell phone bill and all that stuff. And I usually have a little more wiggle room in the grocery budget at that time. This one, at the end of the month, the one that's closest to the end of the month, our rent comes out of, plus a car payment, plus bank fees. So the car payment and the rent combined is a pretty big portion of the budget. And what I can do as far as groceries is it all depends on what's left over after I pay all those things. Once I e-transfer the rent and once I factor the car payment in, or at the other half of the month when I'm doing the hydro and the cable and the water bill and stuff, it's what's left over. Typically, I find I'm around probably $500-ish a month for groceries, sometimes a little bit more. He gives a set amount to me bi-weekly, and then the rest of it really depends on what my hours are at work. I do work at Sobeys, and I also do work part-time at a school lunch program, although I haven't been able to do that as much lately because I am struggling with 2 bad knees, and I don't really want a chance. I'm very casual there, and they know that and understand that, and I don't want to risk falling on the ice. In Manitoba, Canada here, if you're watching more from southern US where you don't have the crazy temperatures and blizzards and stuff that we get here, that's what we do deal with here, and I can't risk a fall on the ice and then taking myself out of commission at my primary job at Sobeys. So I don't work a lot at the school, but that little bit of extra money every month comes in handy. And right now that's not coming in because I'm having to take a step back until spring when it's safer for me to be on my feet, because right now I just can't risk being on the ice. So I tend to try and aim for somewhere around the $500 a month mark for groceries. And I do that by shopping the Scene Plus points offers at Sobeys and taking advantage of my staff discount there, and shopping the PC Optimum offers at Superstore. I do that anyway, even if I am working at the school. That's how I do my shopping. I make sure I price comparison and do the best I can to make the most of what budget I have. So usually it's somewhere around $500 a month-ish, give or take, but it very much depends on my hours at work. Usually I'm working 4 to 5 shifts a week at the store. Lately, it's been more consistently 4 days a week instead of 5, but sometimes, that may pick back up again. And there's always the option of picking up extra shifts. But because I am dealing with 2 bad knees, I have to be careful about picking up extra shifts because of the wear and tear on my body. But I'm also trying to offset what I'm not making at the school, if that makes sense. So that's kind of a brief rundown of how I do the budgeting. But on with what I got tonight at Superstore. We are having one of our coworkers, my daughter and I both work at Sobeys, and there's a bunch of young adults that work there, and one of them, the young man, has become like a son to me, and he's come on some weekend trips with us and everything. And so he's coming over tomorrow after his shift. And I said, you know what? We're going to watch a movie. And I said, we have pizza kits downstairs. Why don't we make some homemade pizzas? A box of craft pizza kit makes four crusts. And there's 4 of us. So there's 3 of us in my family plus him. So we can each make our own individual pizza. And I mean, by individual, I mean like a full-size pizza. Like it'll be the size of a pizza pan. So he can have a few pieces and take some home with him after if he'd like. And I have some ham in the freezer. I have canned pineapple. I have peppers that I've chopped up that are in the freezer. So I decided, you know what, let's get some pepperoni. I do have ham, but I want to get some pepperoni, and I got a large package. This is way more than we're going to need tomorrow, but I'll freeze the rest because I have at least 1 or 2 more packages of that craft pizza kit downstairs. This was $12.50 for this, so I'll just freeze the rest, and then we'll use another pizza kit in a few months and make another batch. These Jane's Cosmic nuggets, I mean, I don't really care that they're cosmic chicken nugget, like they're cosmic shapes. I don't care. It was more just something I've seen people posting about, that this is a great deal at $1.99. And I found them in the Superstore tonight and said, you know what, let's try a bag. And it's fine. It's just something that'll be like a quick lunch if need be. You can just throw these on in the air fryer or in the oven for $1.99. Why not? So $12.50 for the pepperoni and these nuggets for $1.99. And then over here, for the pizzas as well, 2 cans of mushrooms. I had some downstairs in my pantry shelf, but they are well beyond their best before date, and I'm not going to chance using those. They're just too far gone. So I bought 2 of these at $1.29. That's the yellow packaging at the black bar that says no name is store brand. And then some raisins to restock for baking. These are $10.50 for this bag. This was a, what size? 750 gram bag. So that will be fine. That'll be lots for when I do my baking. Now, at Superstore right now, typically speaking, you on your PC Optimum app, you get weekly offers, weekly points offers, things that if you buy those items, you will earn points on. Right now, Superstore is doing something called More Days, where over and above the individual personalized weekly offers, there are many, many, many other points offers going on in store right now. So I went a little bit over what I intended to spend tonight because I took advantage of that. And I'll tell you as we go along, I wrote them down because they're on my app, but I'm recording on my phone, so I can't look at the app. But I'll let you know kind of what I did and why. But on my weekly offers, this no-name broth is, there was an offer on those. I just lost track of where I am here. Oh, they were $1.50, limit of 4. So I grabbed 2 chicken and 2 beef. I can remember a time where it was easy to spend just $1 on these. Now they're on, and this is a sale. $1.50 is considered a sale now on these. So this is inflation right here. It used to be on sale for $1. Now it's $1.50 on sale. On my weekly points offers, I had points if you bought $3 worth of Doritos. And that was easy because this smaller bag of the Doritos was $3.46, limit of 1. But over and above that, there was another offer. This was part of the More Days. It was in the flyer. It was 3,000 points if you bought Cheetos and or Doritos. So I bought the one bag of $3.46, the smaller bag of Doritos, for my weekly points offer. But then I also bought a large bag of Doritos at $6.99 and a large bag of Cheetos at $6.99. And altogether, those totaled $17 and some cents. So well over the $15. However, I was not awarded that 3,000 points. So I've already gone on the app and submitted a points inquiry and explained that, hey, there was an offer in your flyer that if you bought $15 or more, you would earn 3,000 points, and I did not get that. Please credit me that. Now, usually within 24 hours, they get back to you and they give you the missing points. So that is owed to me. I'll probably see that hit my app in the next day or two. So yeah, that was one of the items in the flyer. And then I bought another container of Pam cooking spray. I am low on that, so I figured I better grab one. That was $6.50 for that. And this here, the Betty Crocker, this is something that was on part of the More Days flyer, points offer in the flyer. And that was it was 3,000 points for every $10 spent. I had spent a total of $20 on this. It was 2 for $4, so I grabbed 4 icing. There's a chocolate, a whipped buttercream, French vanilla, and just a regular milk chocolate. And then I grabbed some cake mixes. This is a lemon, pardon me. I think it's a lemon cake up front. French vanilla, a golden, a carrot, chocolate fudge, and at my daughter's request, a cherry chip. So 2 for $4. So we have 4, 8, 12, 16, and 20. So 3,000 points for 10. So 3,000 points times 2, I earned 6,000 points on that. And then right here, this was another one of the offers in the flyer. And this was if you spent, for every $5 on Crispers and or Bits and Bites, you would earn 4,000 points. I earned, no, pardon me, it was 2,000 points for every $5 spent. I earned 4,000 points. I'm looking here, they were $2.49 each, or hang on, I'm just trying to read here. $2.49 limit of 4. That was the Crispers. So I bought a dill pickle, a salt and vinegar, and 2 barbecue. That was the limit of 4. 4 at $2.49, and the Bits and Bites $2.99. So 4 at $2.49. That's, you know, like if it was 4 at $2.50 it would be $10, right? So just shy. That's a basically $9.96 plus the $2.99 for this. That put me. It's basically $5 times 2 because I was just over $10 worth. So I got the 2,000 points for $5. I got 4,000 points on that. And then in my last video, I talked about switching to liquid laundry detergent, and the one that they had on sale last week was out of stock. This is a larger jug, and it is on sale in the flyer, and I decided to grab this. It's a larger jug than was on sale last time, and along with it, the price was a little more, but it is a pretty big jug. It's like a, what size does it say here? 5.6 liters. So I grabbed 2. There was a limit of 4, but I just didn't want to go crazy and buy that many because they were like $15.99 each. So I grabbed that. But each of them had a points offer of 1,500 points. 1,500 points each, so 3,000 points there. And then to go along with the pizza making tomorrow, I grabbed a block of Armstrong cheese. I have 1 block of this in the fridge already, but being that I'm making 4 pizzas tomorrow, I figured I better get another one just to make sure I have enough, and that was $8. And then over here we have 30 count of eggs. This was $10.15. And then 4 liters of 1% milk. That was $5.83. And we have, oh, hang on, I bought myself the Hungry Man chicken. This is my supper. It's a late evening. This is going to be my dinner. I'm trying to find that on here. Here it is. $5.49. Not the healthiest thing. It's a quick meal. It's 10:30 at night. I am not cooking anything right now. This is just simply, you know, a quick add-on because I don't have anything in the fridge that is striking my fancy right now. So this is what I bought myself for a quick late night supper before bed. And then back here I bought a 6-pound bag of the Naturally Imperfect apples, trying to get some more produce in the house. The last video I posted, the little fill-in haul, I had said my husband was saying, we need more fruit in the house, and I agreed. And I had bought some apples, I think then, or no, maybe I don't think I bought apples in that video, but I did in a previous grocery haul one. We still have some left, but I bought some mandarin oranges and some pears and mangoes and stuff, but I thought, let's just get restocked. I bought more mandarins and more apples. So the apples is a 6-pound bag for $8. This is the no-name brand, Naturally Imperfect. I think they're Fuji's. Cucumbers are on my weekly offers. So this 3-pack of English cucumbers were $5. The mandarins, this is a 3-pound bag, I believe. I think it's a 3-pound, yeah, 3-pound bag. Not on my offers, but again, just making sure that we're well stocked on fruit. Where did I go? I'm losing track of where I am here. There they are, $8.99 for those. Bananas, you can see I still have some left from my haul the other day, but I wanted to get some more because they are on my weekly offers right now. So bananas, that's $1.93. Anything, they're not really that ripe, neither of them, but once they are, if my family isn't eating them right away, if they're starting to go brown, then into the freezer they'll go, and they can be used in smoothies or in baking, not a problem. So if hopefully we'll eat them. I have parrots too, and some of my birds like to eat banana as well. So I mean, either way, they will get eaten one way or the other. And then here, grapes. In my last haul, where I did the fill-in haul, I said all I could find in Superstore the other night were green grapes, and that's what I bought. But I decided, when I was in Superstore tonight, I saw they were on sale. I want to say, I can't remember if it was $2.49 a pound or $2.94 a pound. One or the other, but there were red grapes. So I bought 2 bags of red and 1 bag of green. Just making sure we are well stocked. My husband prefers the red grapes. He will eat the green. He's not that picky about it, but he will eat it, but he just prefers the red. But I don't mind the green, so I'm just making sure we have lots. So I grabbed 2 bags. I'm not sure which bag is which as far as price, but 1 bag was, let's see, the green grapes were $5.35, and 1 bag of red was $4.01, and one was $3.93. And then some celery stalks. This was $4.99. That was on my weekly offers. So I grabbed one set of that. And then No Name Bread was on my offers. So I grabbed 3. These were $2.50. As I've said before, they've gone up in price. They used to be $1.97. Now they are $2.50. Normally I buy 2 on a grocery haul, and I put one in the bread box and one in the freezer, but I'm finding that I'm running out. I mean, yesterday's payday for me, and I was down to my last slice of bread. So obviously 2 loaves isn't quite enough. So I'm grabbing 1 for the bread box and 2 for the freezer. So that's what I did. So let me show you the breakdown here, how this all unfolded. I wrote it down, but I'm also just going to go off my receipt too here. There is the 3,000 points for the detergent, because it's 1,500 points each. And all the way down here, here's the breakdown. I earned 6,000 points on the Betty Crocker, as I said, for the cake mixes and the icing. 500 points on the cucumbers. No Name Bread, 700 points, 100 points on the bananas, 300 points on the Doritos, 500 points on celery, and 600 points on the No Name broth. And the Crispers and Bits and Bites offers, I earned 4,000 points there. I spent after tax $209.10, which is probably about $50 or so more than I intended to spend, because there were some extra things. I mean, obviously, buying some extra stuff with the Betty Crocker and the extra Cheetos and the extra Doritos and stuff, and the chicken nuggets and the Hungry Man dinner. Yes, that wasn't something that was on my original list. Some of it was just really good sales, really good deals because of the point solver, and some of it, like the TV dinner, was just me shopping hungry after a long day at work. Now, so it was $209.10. So you can see there I had, I redeemed nothing. I went into this with $20 worth of points. The in-store offers were for 9,000 points. That's 3,000 on the detergents. And the 6,000 on the Crispers and Bits and Bites. That's the 9,000 points of in-store offers. Now, there should also be an additional 3,000 points there for the Doritos and Cheetos offer. That should actually be 12,000, but it's not. But like I said, I've done the points inquiry and I'm waiting to hear back. And then the digital offers, that's the stuff on my app, like the cucumbers, the bananas, the celery, the regular stuff that's on my offers, and the other bag of Doritos. I earned 6,700 points there. So all told, the 6,700 points plus the 9,000 meant that that's what I earned. So I earned 15,700 points on this shop, leaving me with a closing balance of 37,095 PC Optimum points. Now, after that, I stopped at the gas bar and got $30 in gas. I have a points offer there that if you spent $30 or more in gas, you would earn 3,000 points. So I earned 3,840 points by putting $30 of gas in. That's 3,000 points for the offer plus 840 base points on that gas. So what I actually earned today was 15,700 points on the groceries, plus 3,840 points on the gas. And then if you add to it the 3,000 points that they owe me for the Doritos and Cheetos offer, all told, I expect to see those points by tomorrow, all told, the 15,700 points that are on my receipt, plus the 3,840 on the gas, and the 3,000 points that I'm expecting, that means that for tonight, I will have earned a total of 22,540 points. Or basically $22.54 worth of points. But yeah, that is pretty good. I feel like that's a good amount of points to have earned in one shop. Obviously, like I said, I didn't earn the 3,000 yet. Well, I did earn it, but they just haven't credited it to me yet. But even so, to have earned basically the equivalent of over $22 in points back, yes, I went about $50 or so over my budget. I mean, I had a list of things in mind, but a few extra things snuck in there with the nuggets and the pepperoni. Like $12.50 for the pepperoni was a pretty big price. But it just made sense to me to buy a larger package rather than a small and save the rest in the freezer, because I know we have at least 2 or 3 pizza kits. So what I use tomorrow, we have another pizza kit to use at a later date. I might as well buy a larger package of pepperoni. So, I mean, there's a few things that snuck in the cart that were, you know, and the 2 detergents, they were also not cheap. They're $15.99 each, right? So it all adds up. But I feel like I did pretty well for my dollar value. And yeah, that is it for now. There are a couple things I'd like to get at Sobeys, so I will probably film that when I pick those up in the next couple of days and tack that on to the end of this video, and then I will wrap this video up. But that is what I got for tonight, Friday, January 30th at Superstore. Stay tuned for the rest of the video, please, and thank you. Okay, it's Saturday morning now, January 31st. I wanted to show you, I'm about to start a load of laundry in here. that I want to show you. This is dirty stuff. It's dry still. But this is what I mean when I say I'm thinking of switching over to liquid, because actually this doesn't even look as bad as it normally does. Sorry about that mess on the side here, but the Tide Pods don't usually dissolve all the way. That's actually not even as bad as it usually looks. Usually there's a lot more there that doesn't go down. So when the load is done, if I don't get this out right away, there's going to be like a blue laundry stain detergent because this stuff from here is going to drip down onto the wet clothes, the wet clean clothes. And then if that's the case, I've got now soap residue on the wet clean clothes, and I'll have to do another rinse cycle, which is wasting more hydro electricity and more water on the bills. So it just doesn't make sense. So actually this doesn't even look as bad. Like there's some left from a previous pod. Sometimes there's a lot more than that. And then it just like, if you don't get to the washing machine like as soon as it shuts off, which it's a good habit to be in there anyway. You don't want to be leaving it for hours and having it smell musty. But if you're not on it, and you don't get to it within 5 minutes of it shutting off, it'll be drip, drip, drip. And then you got to waste more energy, electricity, and water-wise doing a rinse cycle, a second rinse on this. So that's a bit of a pain, and I find when I use liquid detergent, that doesn't happen. So that's a big part of why I am planning to switch. So I've got Tide Pods there in that container, and I'm going to just finish using them up and then switch to these guys. Here's the pizza kit we're going to make later. And the bread machine is going, making a loaf of herb bread. And those two are watching SpongeBob movie in the next room, having munchies. Alright, it is now Saturday, January 31st, and it is time to wrap this video up. After dropping our coworker home after work, or after hanging out with us for the afternoon, we picked him up after a shift at noon today at Sobeys, and then brought him over and hung out, watched a movie together, and then played some Nintendo Switch games together. And my plan of making homemade pizza together fell by the wayside because my husband suggested, let's get Little Caesars pizza instead. So I'm going to have to put that giant package of pepperoni in the freezer. I'll probably keep it in the fridge for a few days, because he's suggesting that since he's on holidays this week, that perhaps we make it sometime this week. So probably in a few days we'll make up, just for the three of us, a batch of pizzas, and then the rest of the pepperoni I'll freeze for a future batch, because I have 2 or maybe 3 boxes of the pizza mix. So anyway, so we didn't make the homemade pizza today. We ended up doing takeout. He went and picked it up for us. And yeah, and I also made a loaf of herb bread in the bread maker, and I made some split pea soup with ham. And then we took our coworker, who is close to my daughter's age, home after work. Just dropped him off a little while ago. I sent him home with a big container of some of the split pea soup and some of my Christmas baking that was still in the freezer. I thawed some cookies out and sent him home with those. So anyway, on the way home, we stopped at Sobeys and grabbed a couple things. Yes, there's some frozen pizzas here. And yes, I know we have pizza kits in the house. And yes, I know we had takeout pizza tonight. However, they are on sale for $3.47 right now this week, and that is before my 10% staff discount. And I like to have a couple of these on hand in the freezer for an evening when we don't have anything else planned for supper. I don't have a lot. I think I have 2 or 3 downstairs right now from the last time they were on sale. So I want to grab 3 more just so that, just for a quick supper, something to throw in the oven fast if we have nothing thought out meat-wise for supper and no other plan. Then, they're a really good price right now. And it's just kind of a convenience thing. Now, I did also say in the clip last night that I spent a little more at Superstore than I intended to, so went a little bit over budget this pay period. So why am I doing this? Well, last paycheck 2 weeks ago, I knew that the end of the month paycheck was going to be tighter because of the end of the month expenses coming out. And so I literally had set aside a little bit of money to offset that, knowing that there was going to be probably a tighter grocery budget. So I'd set aside about $100 extra to use on the groceries this paycheck. So yes, I went over what my typical budget would be last night by a little bit, but because I'd set aside a little bit 2 weeks ago, knowing that this paycheck was coming and that it was going to be a tighter one with the month-end expenses, that's how I'm able to offset that. So I grabbed a couple things tonight. I just grabbed 3 of these frozen pizzas at $3.47. One is a bacon one. You can see looks like there's red onions on there. And then there's the classic Canadian, which is pepperoni, bacon, and mushrooms. That's the one I like. And then my daughter likes the pepperoni. So basically one for all 3 of us, because I like bacon, but I don't like all these onions and stuff. So that'll be my husband's. And then the Imperial margarine, this size of tub, is on sale for $6.99 right now. And Scene Plus points, you can earn 100 points for every 1 tub of margarine that you buy. So I did earn points on that. And then some more toilet paper, $6.99 for these 12, or $6.49? Was that $6.99 or $6.49? Hang on. $6.49 for the for 12 double rolls. And I earned 50 points on those as well. So not bad. And then because it is the weekend, and as you can hear in the background, my birds are chattering away. We do have parrots, and tomorrow, Sunday afternoon, is typically bird cage cleaning time. So my husband said, hey, we usually buy the paper bags from Sobeys and use those to line the cages. He said, I need about 5 bags. So I bought 5 bags at 25 cents each to go towards that. So here is what happened. Here's the toilet tissue, $6.49 and the 50 points, and then 5 paper bags, the margarine and the 100 points there, and then the 3 pizzas. The 50 points are because the toilet paper was a verified price, meaning that Sobeys has done their work, and usually every week in the flyer there's a handful of items that are called verified prices, meaning that Sobeys has done their work and they've determined that our price on those few items are verified to be the cheapest price of all our competitors. So each week that changes, but each week there's a few items in the flyer where they say this is a verified price as being the cheapest. This is the cheapest you're going to find this product. And so this week, the Purex toilet paper at $6.49, that is one of the items that they consider to be a verified lowest price. And so because of that, if you buy that item and you have a Scene Plus card, you get rewarded with some bonus points. So I got the 50 points for that, and then I got the 100 points for the margarine. Staff discount was $2.51. I did not redeem any points. So altogether, you can see I earned 150 points because 100 on the margarine and 50 points for the toilet paper. Going into this, I had 10,418 Scene Plus points, and that does not include the 150 that I earned tonight. So I'm still sitting at the $100 mark of Scene Plus points. When those 150 points hit my account, probably by Monday, then I'll be at 10,568 Scene Plus points. Still at $100 in points, but still halfway between $100 and $110. And now over here, this is the soup I made. You can kind of see there's residue on the inside of the crock pot. That's because there was more in there than that. It went up higher on the sides, but I dished up a portion to send home with our friends. So that's, yeah, it's done cooking now. It's just on a warm cycle, just keeping it warm. I'm going to have to put the rest of it in the fridge pretty soon. Anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I know it's kind of been a little bit all over the place. I know I said yesterday that I had exceeded our grocery budget a bit, but I did have a little bit set aside from last paycheck to offset buying a couple things at work tonight. So, and you know, these are things we will use. I mean, you always need toilet paper, the margarine. I use butter for a lot of my baking, but I use margarine for a few things, especially because there's a points offer on it. Why not? And the frozen pizzas are just a nice convenience item to have if you're in a hurry and we haven't thought ahead to take meat out of the freezer to thaw. So just a couple of little odds and ends tonight. And that will be where I wrap this up. So I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you did, leave a comment down below and give it a thumbs up. And yeah, I hope you are having a great weekend. I was off today, back to work tomorrow, then I have Monday, Tuesday off, but it is super blustery outside. It's snowing a bit and it's windy like crazy, almost like a blizzardy type wind out there. So it's good to be back inside the house where it's warm. I hope you guys are having a good weekend and staying warm wherever you are. If you like this video, do leave a comment and say hello and make sure your notification bell is turned on, and we'll see you next time. Have a great weekend, everybody.